Watermelon, watermelon, watermelon lived alone. Watermelon, watermelon got a mustache from his home. Banana met watermelon out on the field. Banana hit that mustache off, and then their friends for real. Do 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 da, do 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 da, do 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 da.
Hello. I would say it's me, Trenton Moyer, but I'm not actually here right now. I'm sorry I couldn't be here on the 7th anniversary of the channel and of the Watermelon Show itself to talk about where we're going in the future and how things have been in the past. And now, who am I kidding? I'm actually here. I'm not a hologram. Well, that's not what I'm meant to do. There's 4 of me now. I'm trying to pet my own head, but I can't reach. It's not the same as having my head pat my other head. This is very inefficient. Okay, let's try this. Whoa. Okay, work that time. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit hoarse or anything of the sort. My throat and nose haven't been feeling the best as of late. The weather has been very flip-floppy here recently, and I tend to have issues when that happens with my nose. But, yes. So, the Watermelon Show. 7 years ago today, I posted the first episode, Cool Banana and the Watermelon Paper Part 1, all those years ago. And it's been a lot of fun over all the years. It's crazy to look back and hear Josiah, Keegan, and Nye's voices from like years ago and how much it's changed. And even like with things like Blob's, like Chase's voice too. It's really cool. And it can be really humorous listening back to how much our voices have changed and how I was able to do 11 episodes of a show in 1 year because of, back then, the majority of the episodes are between like 3 to 5 minutes long, so much faster turnaround time, work on it for like a day or two and have the whole thing done with the way I do animation since it's just me. But it's crazy how far we've come. We've come from doing 3 to 5 minute ones to last year doing what was initially meant as a 30-minute special, but with end credits, it's like 42 minutes, but yeah. And of course, as season 1 progressed and season 2, more characters were introduced over time, but initially it was just Watermelon and Banana, so in a way it's an anniversary of those characters too. I've never mentioned this on the channel before, but prior to uploading my first video, like a couple years prior, I actually did like a home movie, like where I cut a face in Watermelon, spun it around, and like took some toys with it, around with it. I know I had like some squirrel squeaky toys and like a Jack Skellington action figure that I took around with it. Which I might work some Easter eggs in, about that into future episodes, but it's crazy because the one day, like, well, what am I going to do as my first video for my YouTube channel? We were out the store, it's just, well, let's buy a watermelon and let's buy a banana, and I can cut a face into it, and I don't remember exactly what I thought. I'm pretty sure I thought that I was going to do that. I knew I just wanted to get a watermelon and a banana to do that. But, it was interesting, because it had been a decent amount of time since I made the home movie with the watermelon, which Banana wasn't in the home movie. Like, that was before he was a thing. But it just intrigues me, because at that point I think it had been so long since I had made like the personal home movie that I'd forgotten that I had done that and called it the Watermelon Show. Where when I called it the Watermelon Show like when I did the stop motion for the first video. And I don't know if I was like looking through some of the old DVDs that we had in the house, and it's like, oh, I must like subconsciously remembered about cutting a face into a watermelon and kind of redid that. So Mr. Watermelon's origin goes a little bit back farther than just the first episode. So yeah, I don't know exactly where banana came from. It's just kind of getting a banana, drawing a mouth on it with a crayon, and then cutting out two eyes of paper and dotting them with pencil, lead, graphite. Yes. But over time, more characters are added, more voice actors were added, which is crazy to me because in my head, I always think about the Watermelon Show like it's. I know there's been huge gaps the past couple years, but like it's been an ongoing, consistent thing in my life. It's weird for me to like look back and think about, wow, I only introduced, or like Guinea Business Pig and Steve were only introduced in season 2, episode 1, so technically they've only been in like 3 out of the 17 episodes of the show. And well, Rocky's been in about half because he came in season 1, episode 8, Rock and Roll. And I mean, there's been 17 episodes if you count The Story Drags On, which there's a couple Easter eggs to it being the 17th episode in that episode, like number-wise. But it's just interesting, like thinking, like really sitting and thinking about how much time has passed and what I have and haven't done. I've had so many ambitions over the years that that didn't quite come to fruition. I know initially I was going to do like a 10th episode special, and I had like a picture drawn like with like a glitter marker or something, and that never happened. The 10th episode ended up being, 11 is Watermelon's birthday. The 10th one is New Foes, where I introduced David and Smuck, which it's funny looking back on that, how much different, like, Smuck's voice is, like, so high-pitched compared to how I portray him now, like, where he's kind of, like, more monotone, I want to say, now. Just, the way David and his personality is, like, there's been a lot of development since then. I'm really happy with the way that went, and The Story Drags On especially, because their relationship, I feel like, is the best character dynamic I have right now, and I want to utilize that more as the show goes on, but not to the point where it becomes overdone or drawn out, which I don't think it will, because I feel like I can switch it up enough. I feel like there's enough potential. But some people may wonder what happened. Over the years, there's been a couple hiccups that have caused the Watermelon Show to have gaps. Not saying that the Watermelon Show is the sole thing that I've done. I want to do more than just that. Like, I want to keep doing, like, shorts that aren't connected to anything. Or, like, a separate series that may last for a while. Like, I have an idea for the summer. I don't want to say anything in case I don't do it, because I've been bad over the years at posting trailers for stuff that never happens. Like 3 Heroes of Bubble Island, 'Twas the Night of a Sleepover, and some other things like that have never actually happened. But yeah, but in 2017, I'm pretty sure it was 2017, the year that I had season 2 start fairly early on in the year, like January. I only have 2 episodes in season 2, which I've been given a hard time about over the years. Like, 2 episodes doesn't constitute as a season, which I'm pretty sure Pee-wee's Playhouse had a season where there was only like 3 episodes or something. So that's not unheard of before. But but I initially, back to Bubble Land, which is another thing I posted a trailer for that never happened, which would have been Chase Wilkie's premiere in the Watermelon Show, which hasn't happened yet, and I feel kind of bad that, like, that was kind of a nod in the end credits. The story drags on about that, how that hasn't happened yet. But that was planned to be a big thing. The old tablet that I used at that point kind of was going on the fritz, so when I recorded things, sometimes like things would appear and disappear, like out of where all the videos were kept, so it was easy to lose stuff. I recorded like a scene of the Goblin from The Road to Mr. Angle Part 3, the baseball one, where I'm like a goblin and I'm like pitching the baseball. I filmed like a whole song of me running around the basement singing, which I'll have to see if there's any way that I can get that, because that would be really fun to put that online. But back to Bubble Land, I had a lot of drawings done for it. I still do. I could do a video like in here somewhere. One of the folders in the cabinets has the drawings from that. I know there's like a segment where like Phil fell out of the vehicle that they were on and like burned his butt on the sun, is where that was going, I'm pretty sure. But I had a lot of ambition for that. And because like, the way the stuff went with the tablet and like how long it was taking, it never quite worked out. I got parts of it done. I posted a trailer online for it, which humors me that the beginning starts out with, it's just basically like, is Mr. Bubble really dead? But but that happened that year. It really stunk for me because I've been trying to get better with this over time, of storing my videos on a flash drive that way. Well, one, it doesn't clog up my computer as much because I can delete them off the computer. And two, I can like go back and utilize old footage for other things if I want to. And it's good to have like just a storage of them. Like if I want to go back and just to make sure I have like a copy of my videos on file on a flash drive. But the computer that I originally edited the first 13 episodes of the Watermelon Show on crashed that year, which really stunk for me. That was a big bummer. It was a huge bummer for me because I didn't have any of those episodes stored on a flash drive at a time. And that was a huge bummer. There for a while I didn't have a computer, so I couldn't really, like, I could film stuff with my tablet and like have the animation done, but I couldn't actually put voices over it. I mean, I probably could have if I got an app, but like the way I traditionally did things at that point, I wanted to keep it somewhat consistent. So there's a big gap before I got the computer I have today. The computer I'm filming this on. Whoa. But yeah, that really stunk. So that's why there's a pretty decent sized gap between season 2 and season 3. And then season 3, after episode 3, then there's a really huge gap before. Like that was early 2018, and I just came back last year, 2022. So like 4 years later, that's the whole like 4 years ago in our time, but so many days in their time, like 3 to 4 days in their time, like the characters' time in the show. But the reason for that gap is more my own ideals of like where I wanted to take the Watermelon Show. There for a while, or I mean, with the storybook idea, which is just kind of comes out of nowhere at the end of season 2, which is humorous, going back at like the way things happen out of nothing. And it's funny because it's still kind of like that. I mean, like characters show up and stuff just kind of happens out of nothing, and there's kind of an insane charm to that, in my opinion. In the season 1 introducing like a character in like every other episode, so like the cast just balloons into like 11 characters as the main core ensemble cast, which haven't really gotten a chance to be much of an ensemble until the story drags on, because there was enough time for them to talk back and forth. But I don't want to get too much into that because I can do separate videos about behind the scenes of the story drags on and how I feel about it. But there for a while I was developing where I wanted to take the Watermelon Show from there. Like initially I wanted to go through and I have like all these ideas to continue like the different storybook each episode, like mainly focusing on Watermelon and Banana, like stuck in the book. But that's also a challenge because you have to like switch up the scenery, because you don't want to just be like generic forest for every single one of the stories. You want to switch it up somewhat, and that takes time. It's harder filming on like an actual like somewhat decorated set than filming on a plain table with a couple things that are easily movable. Also, like the table's up against the wall, so I can't really maneuver around the entire table when it's back here in my studio filming that. So that was one thing. But I thought about it, and I kind of wanted to move in a different direction from that. So I teased it in one of my Trenton Talks videos, and about a year ago, or no, oh my goodness, no, not a year ago, it would have been longer than that. I teased about a Watermelon Show movie, which would have been a special, which maybe it'll happen one day. Probably not the same plot I was thinking of, but I'll give more details about this in the future. I don't want to say anything in case I use this, but I was initially planning to do like kind of like a finale to season 3, like an hour long or like a multi-part type thing, which would have been a lot at the time because I'm still not used to doing things that long. It took me 6 months to do a 40-some minute video last year, but yeah, I kind of would have wrapped everything up and kind of had Watermelon and Banana and them kind of get right out of the book right away at the beginning. Kind of like wrapping that up, like I was kind of sick of that, having that as part of the plot. So I thought about that for a while. So I had that plan, and I'm like, well, if I work on it like this year, like this many years, I get it done by then. And then I started like thinking of like episode plans for after that, like a season 4, which I still may use those ideas one day because those were some pretty good ideas. Like one of the ideas, an episode about Steve seeking help from Rocky of all people, because Steve wasn't having a very good time in one episode. Like he was just struggling a lot, like with internal, like who he is, which I'm going to utilize that further in season 3, hopefully. But the idea of having a movie like completely wrap up season 3, or like a special event, multi-part special event, never really came to fruition, and that's probably a good thing. Because I could have did that. I had my heart set on that. I spent a lot of time like writing down papers, writing down notes, and maybe like starting scripts, and like recording my voice. I had tons and tons of ideas for that, and I still do. But over time, I felt that it was best that I didn't do that, mostly because I felt like I didn't have enough experience doing long videos at that point, where I would do my idea service well, which I probably could have like did it, but it wouldn't have been exactly how I was wanting it to be. So that's one thing. I feel like I said that like 3 different times in this video. But yeah, and I was wanting to move on and do other things over time. I mean, I was still wanting to do the Watermelon Show. I think I just struggled knowing exactly what to do and where to start, because I knew whatever I did, it was going to take me a while. And eventually I settled back on, like just kind of like a spur of the moment thing. I was kind of like, I should start like doing more stuff with the book and see how that goes, and like try to finish out that plot line. And it's like, yeah, I want to try to finish out that plot line and like see if I can do a lot more with it before getting sick of it. And I think I can. I think there's a lot more I can do with it without getting sick of it, especially since now, like with the mayor and the seeds, Trevi, Sabers, and Trace, I can do like a lot more character-driven stories that don't have to be necessarily set in the book. I can do more with the side characters in Tableland, which I was originally going to do, like with Smuck and David still trying to mess up stuff for them when Watermelon and Banana are in the book. But now I want to heavily have a lot more development for the side characters. And the challenge is going forward with that, which I'm planning on... Here, I gotta get a drink. Which I'm planning on in the future, well, I mean, like, for the rest of the year and, like, a good chunk of next year, as I'm continuing Season 3, which I want to have a lot more episodes in Season 3. I want to have episodes that are a lot more, like, 11 to 15 minutes long, maybe, like, 2-part 11-minute episodes, like, one post this week and the second part post that week. I feel like it's a lot more manageable than doing, like, a 40-minute special, which I don't think I'm going to do for a while because of how long that took. I love it. I love how it turned out. I love all the work the amazing cast did on it. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. But the hard thing is when I started the Watermelon Show back in 2016, and, like, introduced characters, it's very episodic. It's very, very comedy-driven, and that's great. And that's a great thing. Stuff being comedy-driven is great, but I feel like I appreciate shows that have at least some semblance of continuity with everything else. For those of you who don't know, continuity is like when some things occur that reference past events, or like something that kind of establishes that things have changed over time and that not everything has to return to the status quo. But yeah, the hard thing is my characters, as much fun as they are, I'm not saying they don't have character. I'm just saying, like, over the years, there hasn't been, or at least when I first started, there wasn't a whole lot to make them have their own motivations and their own goals. They were just kind of there, chilling out. And that's cool, because that's kind of how things are in real life, too. So, like, we all need, like, time to just chill out with our friends, like, they go and meet up at the table and just chill out the rest of the day, So, I mean, in a way, that's kind of realistic. But I want to do this moving forward in Season 3, like, I'm not saying I'm going to end the Watermelon Show. I'm just saying I have an idea for an episode where I want to temporarily pause next year, if I get to that point, where I just want to have things, and then I can, if I want to leave it there, I could, but it perfectly leaves things open for if I want to do other things later. I just wanted to get the Watermelon Show in a good place for a while. But the hard thing about moving forward and doing episodes that focus on, I mean, like, they're the main cast, but they're more of the secondary cast, like Phil and Steve and Pineapple and all of them. But the hard thing about doing episodes that focus on them, or, I mean, I guess the hard thing about moving forward to getting to that point is it's like, the characters have already been introduced in this world. They've been brought in like, Season 1, Season 2, and as crazy and off the wall as those could be, and how crazy and off the wall the show can still be, we've met these characters before, and I want to keep continuity with Seasons 1 and 2. In like 3 so far. But we kind of have to backtrack a little bit and learn more about the characters and learn more about their personal struggles to really get to know the characters, and then all of a sudden, like, jump to, like, speed forward to, like, getting to where the show ends. So it kind of concerns me that Season 3 will probably have some sort of quite a bit of a pacing problem, because if I do, like, a sole episode about one character or a couple characters, where I majorly kind of, like just focus on, like, them individually and their struggles, I feel like it provides, like, attachment to them, which will help, like, relate to them as a character moving forward, but at the same time, it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and there's not a lot of past actions to back it up, because there never really was a whole lot of actions with that character. But I'm going to try it and see how it works. I really want to try that. I really want to give my characters, I want this show to be a lot of fun, comedic, but I want to be able to have more emotional episodes that still have a lot of comedy. But like the next one, I want to be a lot more emotional and have a lot more merit to it. So, not saying that my other things don't have artistic merit. I mean, I just really want it to have like a lot of emotional depth to it, like where you could think about it afterwards. And it specifically focuses on one character. I'm not going to say who that character is until I reveal more about that as we go forward. But I have the whole thing storyboard, and I'm really excited about it. So that's the primary challenge moving forward, is figuring out how to properly give characters development or motivations, I suppose, moving forward, that still comply with where I'm wanting to go with Season 3. But that's the main thing. And also, I feel like I'm going to get caught up doing so many things in Tableland that it's like, I need to remember I need to do stuff with Watermelon and Banana too. They are the main characters. I've never heard anyone tell me this before. I've gotten compliments about this special from last year, but it's like, in my opinion, the Watermelon and Banana were just going to be like a short thing tacked on the end to like tease future episodes, but it's ballooned into like a 10-minute thing at the end. And it's just like, I watched the Watermelon Show for Mr. Watermelon and Banana, and they didn't show up until like 20-some minutes into it. So it's a little bit, it's like, the Watermelon Show, where's Mr. Watermelon at? Thank you for listening. I just wanted to share where like the struggles going forward, but like my excitement's going forward, and I'm really happy to continue doing videos. There's been a lot of gaps over the years, but I really appreciate all the support I've gotten from my family and friends, and from people like you that are watching the video right now. It means a lot to me, and it's a lot of fun doing this. And I'm in a place right now where I don't do this for like I don't have enough like subscribers for it to like monetize things, but I don't do this channel as like a financial thing right now. I just do it purely for the fun of it, and it probably contributes to there being so many gaps in between things, projects, but in a way, you know, it kind of helps me from not having like severe burnout or anything from like doing too many videos in a day or two. Spacing things out, and with school and things, it's kind of hard to have time to, like, if I was wanting to do like a bajillion things in one day, which maybe that's a good thing. That's probably a good thing, but I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in. Good day to you. Watermelon, 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 lived alone. Watermelon, watermelon, got a mustache from his home. Banana, banana, watermelon on the field. Banana hit that mustache off, and then they're friends for real. Do 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 da, do 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 da, do 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 da. Da 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 da. Goodbye. By the way, I forgot to mention in the video. Recently, I realized that you can download videos like if it's from your channel. So, and I was originally gonna like screen record everything and like store it on a flash drive just for my own personal uses, but it was like, no, the visual and audio quality isn't as good. I was gonna try to tweak it in editing, but this saves me so much time, and I'm I'm really happy about this. I realized that you could like download your own videos back onto like your devices. So now, like I have flash drives. Like that computer crash that happened a while ago, it's like it never happened because now I have, like I already did this. I have flash drive stored like with all the episode files that would have been lost. I just wanted to say that's really exciting to me. See ya. Gotta click it off with the mouse. Where's the mouse? Okay, there it is. Yeah.